Hello and welcome to Context. I'm Bakhtiar Sanov, and now we delve into a pivotal development in Eurasian connectivity. Kazakhstan's invitation to Slovakia to join the Middle Corridor, officially known as the Trans-Caspian International Transport Route. During Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico's recent visit to Astana, President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev extended an invitation to Slovakia to take part in this critical east-west trade artery. This initiative, stretching from China through Central Asia, across the Caspian Sea, through the South Caucasus and Turkey, and onward to Europe, is gaining increasing geopolitical and economic traction amidst shifting global supply chains. How might Slovakia's involvement reshape regional integration? What are the energy, logistics and sustainability implications? And how does the corridor tie into broader European and Central Asian strategies? To unpack these questions, I'm joined by Özgür Güven, a respected sustainability and energy expert based in Ankara, Turkey, and Fuat Shahbazov, independent policy analyst, joins us from Baku. Özgür and Fuat, welcome to Context. It's a pleasure to have both of you with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Özgür, let's start with you. How do you interpret Kazakhstan's invitation to Slovakia? What strategic value does Slovakia offer to Middle Corridor?
Well, I think Kazakhstan is making bold moves in the very recent days. They recently also signed an MOU with the Bulgarian president during his visit, in a very recent visit to Kazakhstan, and they already signed to enter to the Middle Corridor. And the same invitation was already being offered to Slovenia, and I think sooner or later they will also sign, I think, from what I hear. And I mean, what can I say? This is good. And also, like, Kazakhstan has also proposed an investment for both Baku and also Akto ports to increase the potential of the usage of the Middle Corridor. I think they're doing good in terms of, for the increasing the potential and attractiveness of the Middle Corridor against the North Corridor.
From a sustainability...
I need to add, I don't see the North Corridor as a competition. That's just, I need to add at the last one.
Okay. Fuat, from a sustainability standpoint, how compatible is the Middle Corridor with green logistics and low carbon transport goals?
Thank you for the question. Well, with the Middle Corridor being a viable alternative route for Europe, connecting Central Asia to Europe amid the ongoing geopolitical uncertainties and fragmentation in the greater Eurasian region. So global actors, including the European Union, from Asia, China, they actively seek an alternative trade routes, but from this green energy point of view, so those actors seek to decarbonize trade routes and diversify supply chains away from sensitive regions. And in that regard, Middle Corridor is increasingly positioned as a viable alternative to the existing traditional trade routes. So, but still, those environmental sustainability and strategic alignment with global green energy initiative, it comes with some challenges, of course. And from sustainability standpoint, this corridor holds a considerable promise, but faces some challenges, like about the cargo volumes, about of course some environmental issues, and about common tariff policy. So corridor's multimodal character, leveraging rail and sea, it offers a lower carbon alternative to air and transport. So I think that those current attempts of electrification of rail networks in Azerbaijan or in Turkey or in Central Asia, this also made quite meaningful progress.
Özgür, what role does Turkey play in facilitating or even scaling the Middle Corridor's westward expansion into Europe?
I think what Turkey is trying to do is to modify the infrastructure, to improve the infrastructure, because I don't know if anybody witnessed the queue we have in the Sarpi borderline from Georgia and the Turkish border. It can be days of lines over there. On the Azerbaijan side, I must congratulate my Azerbaijani brothers over there because theirs is less densely populated over there. The waiting lines is much more better. And because middle corridor and northern corridor, they both connect when it comes to the Georgian-Turkish border. Most of it all passes through there, and we have to improve that. We have to improve the conditions, but of course, mainly in the Georgian side, because the Turkish side, yes, we already built a highway which connects from the border all the way to the western border of Turkey. But on the Georgian side, the construction of the highway is taking longer than expected. It's taking a long time, so that's something our Georgian friends should consider on their side. I know China has a huge interest on Anaklia port, which is trying to eliminate the weight in between Georgia and Turkey to reach out to the European continent in general. And from our side, we are doing our best, but I know it's not enough. And on the economical perspective, I think middle corridor should also be used not only to integrate Chinese products to Europe, but also regional efforts, regional connections. I mean, Kazakh products reaching out to Turkey or Azerbaijan to Turkey, Azerbaijan to Kazakhstan, Georgia, and all the other neighbors countries. We should facilitate, we should increase the opportunities that we combine through the middle corridor, because if we can increase the regional trade, I think it will have a very positive effect for the efficiency, for the usage of the middle corridor. I think that will be a very added bonus in terms of being an alternative for the northern corridor.
But considering global instability and shifting supply chains, how resilient is the middle corridor as an alternative to northern routes via Russia?
So, from geopolitical context, the middle corridor's attractiveness has grown as global supply chains recalibrate in response to the Russia-Ukraine war and broader strategic decoupling. So, middle corridor allows shippers to bypass the traditional routes because of international sanctions, and while maintaining overland trade between Europe and China through this Caspian Basin. So in that regard, this the middle corridor's capacity allows mostly allows Chinese cargo flows to Europe, but now the middle corridor countries including Azerbaijan, they put enormous efforts to make the cargo flows on the same level cargo flows from Europe to China, because currently China is the main trade partner alongside the middle corridor. So strategically, the corridor aligns closely with the main priorities, like economic priorities and foreign policy priorities of all countries, because this corridor offers at least safe trade connection between Central Asia and Europe. So therefore, we can expect that this attractiveness of the middle corridor for foreign investors, foreign companies, logistic companies, will grow significantly in the next few years.
Özgür, do you think Slovakia's involvement could signal broader EU interest or investment in the middle corridor?
I mean, Slovakia, yes, is not a big may not be a big economic contribution, but it is definitely, whomever is going to contribute in this, we should not look at it from an economical or financial aspect, but in the sense that, Slovakia is the way to reach out to Italy. It's the way to reach out to Southern European states. So, I mean, any contribution should matter in this sense. uh, in an economical perspective, I don't think Slovakia would contribute much economically or financially. Maybe some Slovakian companies would be the investor, maybe, but I have doubts about that. But more of it, I know. I mean, I know Slovakia is an importer of most of its agricultural goods in that sense,
So,
because it's a country of.
So, Özgür, what do you think? What kind of infrastructure upgrades or developments would Slovakia need to undertake to become an effective part of this corridor?
From my point of view, Slovakia should benefit more of incoming goods through this trade route. I mean, agriculture is an important factor I want to raise, especially for the regional states like South Caucasus, including the CIS states like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and all that. They have a lot of agricultural potential, and not to mention Azerbaijan in its own. And especially, it could be good, I believe, for Azerbaijan mainly to reach out to Europe with its agricultural commodities, especially fresh agricultural commodities, in a short matter of time through truck loads of through trucks, that it can reach out in 48 hours or maximum 56 to 60 hours, which is a very valuable advantage on the Azerbaijan side, because the Turkish agricultural export is already huge
Yes.
to European states. And I believe countries like Slovenia, if we promote it correctly, efficiently, both Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan should benefit, especially for their agricultural exports to the European states, starting from Slovenia.
Fuad, energy is a big component of Kazakhstan's export profile. How might this corridor evolve in terms of energy transport, especially green or hybrid energy logistics?
Actually, Kazakhstan is very keen on exporting more energy with the Caspian Basin because Azerbaijan already transfers additional Kazakh volume to Europe through Caspian Basin and Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan pipeline. So, and within this middle corridor route, so Kazakhstan is really keen because both sides still hold discussions, exploring the opportunities how this middle corridor, from Aktau port to Baku Elat port, and then further to Turkey and further to Europe. Opportunities how to transfer mostly like LNGs or probably like some green energy by this middle corridor route. Yet the countries are still to finalize those talks because there's a need to adoption of a common strategy and including tariffs and including attempts of optimization of such exports through the middle corridor, because middle corridor is mostly used to transfer some goods with containers and with huge containers. And this will also would require additional infrastructure work to export some green energy and hybrid energy from Kazakhstan to Europe.
And finally, Mr. Güven, what policy recommendations would you offer to ensure that the middle corridor remains both commercially viable and environmentally sustainable?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, regional contribution, regional partnerships should be more motivated, encouraged, both for business entities and for the governments of the partners like Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Turkey, and whomever is going to include it themselves. Because if we can increase the regional volume of the middle corridor, then I think it will be more attractive for the rest of the European countries who would be interested in joining to the middle corridor, I believe. So I strongly suggest to increase ways of regional contribution, regional partnerships, to participate use of the middle corridor, because if we can fluctuate, if we can increase the fluctuation, if we can increase the volume of the middle corridor through our own usages, I think it will attract more business, especially businessmen from the European states, because after all, this is a financial matter.
Yes.
And you cannot, however, politically, you can be motivated. If the business entities are not motivated, because they will only be motivated through their financial gains. If they are not motivated, any trade route, whatever the political motives you have, will not work. So we have to attract those business entities, and it can only be done through their financial benefits.
Özgür Güven, Fuat Shahbazov, thank you both for joining us today and offering such thoughtful insights into the evolving dynamics of the Middle Corridor.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That brings us to the end of this edition of Context. I'm Bakhtiar Aslanov. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time with more in-depth analysis of the issues shaping our world. Stay safe and stay informed.